What's up, you guys? It's Benny T here from SayWord, and we are back with Word Wednesday, episode 21. And we are here with our homie, our neighbor, Ben, aka Redbeard. How you doing today, man?
Really good. Really good.
He's doing great,
Really
you guys. So right off the rip, we just like letting people know, let people know who you are, what you do, where you're from, where's the shop. Just give us a quick rundown of your little bio info real quick.
I'm a tattooer. I work across the street. Can I gesture that?
Yeah.
Across the street.
Drop the Addy.
Good Land Tattoo, 3483 North Oakland Avenue. Across the street, next to every vape place, premier vape place on the east side. A tattoo over there. I'm from East Troy, Wisconsin.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah,
I thought you were from here.
Well, I was born here, and then I moved out to East Troy, Wisconsin, and not a huge tattoo scene in East Troy. You could imagine.
No.
So then back here I came.
Okay. How long have you been tattooing in Milwaukee?
17 years this week.
This week?
This week.
Perfect. This is why we had you on.
From the first tattoo I ever did.
Okay.
Ever. Rhyme Sayers record label logo. Took me probably 2 hours, I bet.
If you were to redo that tattoo now, how long would it take?
20 minutes, probably. 20 minutes maybe.
If you had a guess, throwing a number out there, how many total tattoos have you done in that 17 years?
17 times 1 year. I don't know, a lot. A lot of tattoos.
5K?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Can we get? There it is. Rhyme Sayers record label.
There it is. I thought he was doing the math. I thought Sam was over there running the numbers, like 17 years, 300 tattoos.
It's hard to say because there's when you first start tattooing, you're not like
5,100.
5,100. Exactly.
And that's accurate.
That's actually exactly 5,100.
You lift up your shirt, it's just tallies.
Yeah, I've been keeping on. Well, I've been keeping on my thighs. Each tattoo, I do a little. At the very end of the tattoo, I do one for me, I say, and then it scares some people off. But one.
He looks
one
like who's that? Is that who's the character from Batman that has all the etchings on it? I don't know if it's Calendar Man or what, but that's what I'm picturing. Take them off.
Is there really a guy called Calendar Man?
It is. There is a guy named Calendar Man in Batman.
If
you've never read The Long Halloween,
no, I'm not going to.
Definitely the great.
I'm not going to. I'm not gonna start now. I'm not gonna
why now?
Because of Calendar Man? No, I already know about the Riddler.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
You should know this right away. Val Kilmer is my premier Batman.
Okay.
It's
the only Batman?
No, he's just my premier. That's in my heart. That's my favorite Batman. Batman Forever is this era.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
We're surrounded by it.
Yeah.
Any Batman Forever stuff here?
Oh yeah. There's probably
TLJ in there?
Yeah.
Tommy Jones.
Yeah. So what's like a horrible tattoo situation you found yourself in, or just like a really crazy situation that not even necessarily while you were tattooing, but because of tattooing, whether it be other tattoo artists or whatever, got you into this situation, predicament, anything ever like super fucked ever happen?
Like tons of fucked stuff. I remember when I found out that tattoos make people puke. Is one of my least favorite moments ever. Which I didn't
a lot?
No, I think twice.
Okay.
I think twice in 17 years I've had someone puke while getting tattooed. Because sometimes people get lightheaded, sometimes people pass out, and sometimes people are like, I don't feel very good. And then you're trapped between them and a wall and a puke thing and so that's my least favorite. Those are my least favorite experiences ever tattooing a puker.
Did you get puked on?
Nope,
Okay.
never got puked on. Not my deal, Because usually you can catch someone before they pass out.
Yeah, you see the signs.
When I start, I'm like, you feel this way or this way, say something right away. They don't a lot of the time. Dudes don't.
Oh yeah.
Dudes don't ever say it ever. You have to find out when you're tattooing them and their skin is
pale
and lizardy, and if I'm like, hey man, are you feeling okay? By then it's too late.
And
it's generally too late. One of my most memorable versions of that was, this is a long time ago, I'm tattooing very quickly. Usually it's like the first 3 minutes. Someone like 6 lines in. If someone's going to pass out, it happens almost immediately. It's this big boy. and he's like going out. And so it's me and it's his dad. We're trying to keep his big body in his chair. And we do. And then he immediately turns on his family. It's a very like, oh, I'm only getting this tattoo because you guys made me. And then for the rest of the tattoo, he laid there with his head on his mom's lap, and she had a washcloth on his forehead, and I tattooed him.
I
like
hope you're gonna say he was like 18.
Yeah, probably, but
Okay.
like, you know, that's still
Because I'm also kind of picturing like a 40-year-old man with like old parents next to him, like really upset.
I would have been better. That would have been better.
What was the
That would have been
tattoo?
better. Something insignificant, something he shouldn't have probably gotten.
Live, laugh, love.
It was probably some family thing. He felt like the least favorite part of the family. I mean, based off of this experience, it felt like it was a thing that probably didn't need to happen.
He was getting like the family crest, so his family wouldn't disown
you know,
him.
yeah, it could have been, but it was the reverse effect of bringing them together.
Yeah,
he was very alienated.
Never talked to him
and
again.
A lot of disappointment in the father's eyes, for sure. The mother very attentive. The father just wanted out. I mean, just wanted out of there.
Have you ever had a situation where you like tattooed somebody and then like their significant other or like a parent came in and was like, yo, why the fuck did you tattoo this on them?
You know, because it's only adults, there's only so much
right
of that. There's a lot of times that, so people still don't know about the internet. So there's like a lot of days where a parent and a kid walk in, and then the parent starts talking for the kid about the tattoo they want. And I assume you're not old enough to get tattooed if
Correct.
that happens. And sometimes that is the case. But there's never been a like, you shouldn't. People know if they're getting a thing that they shouldn't with a significant other or whatever. I remember a time where I'm about to tattoo a girl, and she's like laying on a bed, and I'm setting my stuff up or whatever, and then there's a little bit of a commotion, and her Weasley boyfriend was just trying to like spoon up next to her on the bed
on the tattoo table.
Yeah. Oh. And I had dad voicing like,
separate
get the fuck,
please.
What are you doing?
Please
dude?
Back away.
Yeah, it was one of the weirder things I've ever seen someone do in a shop or anywhere else. It was a very strange time to do that.
I don't think spooning in public is.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
No,
please don't.
No, I don't want to see. Yeah, it was a very, and you know, it's a one person bed. I mean, in general, it's a one. Yeah, spooning in public, never necessary.
Please don't.
Also, if I'm at some kind of event and there's a group of people and I'm watching someone do this the whole time, oh man, I wanna.
Someone's cheated.
Oops, something. I hope that ends, because if I'm watching anything and I see a hand
the whole time,
sometimes it's there, and then if you're with me, I'm like, look at this. I'm like, So yeah, no. So I don't need anyone spooning or.
Please don't.
You know. Little kisses.
Is there anything you wouldn't tattoo, or has there been a time someone's brought some shit to you and be like, this is what I want, and you're like, no, please don't?
I've had more than one person try to tell me about the swastika being an old good look symbol, and I'm like, yeah, all right, dude. Okay. The guy that walks in and asks for a swastika acts the same way the older guy that wants to get a dick piercing acts. They walk in, they don't seem like they belong there. They sort of mill around for a little while.
They know they're on some fuck shit
until
already.
Eventually they walk up and are like, oh, hey, is there a female piercer here? Or I want this symbol. And I'm like, oh, no.
Not here.
Dude, no. I mean, no has to get said a lot. Fingers and hands, our proximity to a college. There is a lot of times that like 18 or whatever year old people want to get these things that sometimes I just have to say, no, yeah. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
The $100 isn't worth the like attachment to making someone's life shittier. And sometimes people have only heard no for the first time when I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. They just expect like, but I have money.
Yeah.
They do.
They do. Sometimes there is that attitude of like, you better.
But dollars.
Yeah, you know, but yeah, so sometimes it has to be no. Sometimes shit doesn't work as, you know, and people, the internet, again, crazy place. Sometimes you have to explain to somebody that what they're showing you isn't a real tattoo, or it's a superimposed image on top of whatever. I feel like the customer is always right unless you're in a tattoo shop, because it's too permanent.
Yeah.
It's too permanent. And sometimes I have to be the one to be like, I know what it's like to have neck tattoos, your hands tattooed, or whatever it is, and it changes
The dynamic.
your life. It's going to change things. So sometimes when someone is, it's an age-based thing also for me.
Yep.
It's not even always like how heavily tattooed someone is, but if you are 18 and if you are 40, it is a different thing, because I know that at 18, you're still like a child's brain nearly. And if you are, this adult human being that is going through your life, I'm not going to tell you what you can and can't.
Right.
I mean, it's just one of those kinds of things. I don't ever want my name attached to the idea that I don't give a shit what happens to you after you leave there.
Right.
So, I mean, I've definitely tattooed, necks, and I've put face tattoos on people before. Yeah. But like,
we're about to do it right now.
Double Harry Potter eyeglasses.
That's what you tattooed on someone?
No, that would be a mentally ill person that I would be taking advantage of. I'm not putting Harry Potter eyeglasses on somebody. That'd be crazy, Very crazy.
Well, leading into that kind of starts me off with my first question for the segment of this or that we always do. Not sure if you've seen the videos we post
this
on
or
our page.
That.
Yeah, this or that. So we're gonna run it. It's real simple. There's no wrong answers. It's your personal preference. Some people may feel your answers are wrong, but fuck them.
Yeah,
so, number 1, would you rather have a stranger pick a tattoo that you have to tattoo on yourself, or would you rather you pick the tattoo but they get to do it on you?
A stranger?
A stranger. You have no idea what their talents are.
I will do the one. Wait, what's the first one? Am I doing the tattoo?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm doing that one.
Okay.
I'm doing that one.
But you have to do the design that they pick.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. I've never had a non-tattooing human being tattoo me.
Yeah.
And there's like a few human beings that I would let do that if they really called for it.
Yeah.
But a stranger, not one of them.
Not trusted.
No, not one of them. It hurts so bad by a professional to get a tattoo.
Yeah, someone's just coming in.
No, just a stranger. No, 0%.
All right.
0%.
Number 2, would you rather do a whole arm piece or a whole leg piece?
I mean, a leg is significantly bigger.
Yeah. Typically.
Significantly bigger. I don't think people really fully realize how much leg skin you have.
Especially upper thigh.
Especially upper thigh.
I probably have as much skin on my upper thigh as on my whole fucking skinny little arm.
Like a leg is definitely more than, a back or something like that for sure. And I feel like there's a lot of shit they don't account for.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter to me if you are, an arm. An arm.
Yeah.
An arm.
An arm.
It's more manageable and people follow through with it better.
Question number 3. Would you rather someone walks in, would you rather tattoo right away just something off the wall that you've already designed, or would you rather sit down and create like a fully custom catered to them tattoo? Because I know every tattoo artist is super different. Some people want to spend 10 hours with their customer constructing something. A lot of other tattoo artists.
15, I'd say.
15.
I want to spend 15 hours designing. I like to spend 5 hours on just getting to know everything about them. No, pick something off the wall, man.
Are you already created, right?
Yeah, I think you can just like come and get a cool tattoo that doesn't mean anything besides like you think this is cool.
Yeah.
I think it's a cool part of tattooing. I think designing stuff for people is cool. I think getting a thing that you want is great.
Yeah.
But there became this like time where like getting flash tattooed became this really like negative thing, because flash just became like the same couple of companies and everyone had the same like generated flash and then as time went by and people started repainting flash and that kind of thing, I think it's always funny when you hear people. Shop has a lot of flash painted in it. If you guys haven't been in it, but you'll hear people as a joke to their friend be like, "You should get this," ha ha ha, and then we're like, oh, "It's fine." I've had someone say that about like talking about how ridiculous getting your dog tattooed on you would be. And I was like, yeah, it's crazy, right? Yeah. But I think you can come and get a thing that's just up there that's like just to make you feel good.
Yeah.
Just to make you feel cool.
Yeah.
No one had to die. Nothing tragic had to happen.
Right.
It doesn't need to have like this huge meaning of every aspect of your life. Sometimes you can just go in there. I think it's like the fun part about a tattoo shop or tattoos, that there's can be like, 2,000 things, and you're like, yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That one.
That
and
one.
then, it sometimes happens 5 years down the road. You're like, I shouldn't have got that. That's stupid, but there's a fun element of that.
Yeah.
I certainly don't think everything is,
Yeah.
you wouldn't do it all over again every single time, but that's a fun kind of thing. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of people that will say things like, oh my God, everyone's got that. I remember someone saying, everyone's got a panther tattoo. And I was like, man, I wish. That's a cool world if everyone's got a panther tattoo. But sometimes they will show you a thing on Pinterest that 10,000 people have gotten tattooed on them. But it's
like two dolphins like kissing into a heart.
That would be better. You know what I mean? That would be better. Which there's sometimes Pinterest leads to fun tattoo trends. Roses are good tattoos. Yeah. Sometimes it leads to that. But someone can look at a tattoo painted in a shop and assume everyone has it. And then they will look at a Pinterest thing that actually is very widely tattooed. Yeah. And it feels different for them. I'm not sure why it feels different for them. Yeah. But it just does. It has a different kind of thing. Yeah. I
feel like so many people, it is one of those things to where so many people are doing it for different reasons that if you want to pull something off Pinterest, if someone comes in with that dolphin kissing tattoo and you had an open spot and they're like, $200.
It's your tattoo. You get to get whatever you want.
Yeah.
Within.
You just have to find the right artist who's willing to create that art for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's your tattoo. It's not my tattoo. It's your tattoo.
Yes. I hate when I hear people complain, oh, this tattoo artist wouldn't do this or this or that. And it's it's still their art form. You guys are still 100% entitled to be fuck no.
We are. However, I do think somewhere along the lines, it got very convoluted what we are to the world.
Yeah.
And we are surviving off of human beings asking us to do this thing for them. Yeah. So I think you can only be so choosy about.
Yeah, I was gonna say picky. You don't want to.
It's a job. It's a job, and some days are better than others, and some days are easier than others.
Yeah.
And some days you just need to give that person the thing that they requested.
Yeah.
It's not the amount of times that I say to somebody, I might only see this one time.
Yeah.
So if I give you the thing that you want, let's do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't, my opinion factors in dealing with somebody.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes people think it can't be. I mean,
yeah.
The way the world is now with how specialized things are, certain people only do certain things. And I think that is fine that they do that. But you just need to find someone that wants to put that thing on you that you want to get.
Yeah.
I have to pay bills and I've got children and I can't just only tattoo everything.
Be choosers, right?
I mean, I get to tattoo a lot of what I want. And I think my scale of what I enjoy tattooing is pretty wide. Sometimes you don't know you're going to the thing's going to be enjoyable to do. And then you do it. And you're like, oh, that was really fun.
Yeah. And you just see how much they can enjoy it too. They love it so much.
But also in the grand scheme of things, sometimes people getting the most insignificant, smallest little thing are the most
meaningful.
Genuinely excited or happy about this.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easy to forget that some people are getting 3 tattoos in their life. And this is a
monumental time
big
for
experience. Them. I think the experience part of it is a big part of it.
Yeah.
And I think it is the part that I was always I always understood better. I was always better at that part initially tattooing. I got people to get tattooed by me when I wasn't great at getting tattooed because everyone's heard someone defend a bad tattoo for their tattoo artist because they want to. People don't love being like, this thing sucks or this thing sucks or whatever. And B, there is this, people feel defensive about that.
Yeah.
You spend so much time with a human being that sometimes that aspect of it is more important than what that thing is.
Yeah.
At this point in my life, getting tattooed by a stranger feels probably won't happen really because I've
so many tattoo artists.
Many friends that tattoo that I've never been tattooed by that what I'm getting is not that big of a deal now as much as I want to have this person do a tattoo on me or whatever. So I think sometimes that part of it gets a little bit lost of like, that this is my art and I won't bend on it. But also you don't have to. Yeah. If you are trying to force someone to tattoo something on you that they really don't seem like they are into doing, maybe that's not the move.
Yeah. It's not probably going to turn out the way you want. You're probably not going to have the best experience either.
The amount of times I've seen great tattoos on people that were done by someone that they just had a bad experience with, it's like being good at it is not enough now.
Correct.
Like I think it is not
experience
20 years ago. It is not whenever. You can go to any small town across the country and you will find someone in that town at that shop that can do a good tattoo.
Yeah.
Like I think it's harder to be impressed by tattoos because you just see them. If you open up your phone, I see 50 new tattooers that I've never heard of that are like amazing at tattooing.
Yeah.
So like that part is only so much of it. And I think if you have a shitty experience with somebody or someone's like, I don't know, a super bummer the whole time you are getting tattooed by him, you are probably not going back there to hand them your money.
Again.
To
100%. I agree with that.
Tattoo 101.
So now you said you grew up in East Troy.
East Troy, Wisconsin, home of Alpine Valley. Alpine Valley is the one thing that people knew about from East Troy.
Concerts.
I
thought you meant like Alpine Valley, like high school is where you went. I thought that's what you were like promoting.
East Troy High School.
Oh, okay.
ETHS.
All 36 of you?
More than 36 of us. Town of 4,000. There's like 600 something kids.
Okay.
No, not a big town.
Okay.
But Alpine Valley's there. It's the only thing.
How far are you from Elkhorn?
Like 15 minutes.
Pretty close.
Yeah, it's just down 43.
So I like talking about ghosts and ghouls and goblins, is specifically like
the Beast of Bray Road is what you're going to
talk about. Yes.
Sure.
Yes. So do you know the whole lore? Do you know... have you ever had an experience? Do you want to tell the story? No, I usually do. You can go.
Give me the lore. I can say I've been on Bray Road.
Okay.
I'm very familiar with the area.
But if you're like a local,
anything can feel spooky if you're out there. And you're like,
oh yeah,
very misty out here. You know, I've never seen the Beast.
Okay.
I've never been touched by the Beast.
Okay.
I've never felt the claws down my. I've never.
So before we go any further, for those of you who don't know, it is the Beast of
Bray Road.
Bray Road. Okay, and the legend is that in 1991 was the first like major sighting. Of course, it had to have happened on Halloween, which makes it so less serious.
Spookiest night of the year.
So, a woman, she's driving down the street. She hears like some weird sounds going on. She thought it was her car, I believe.
Can you do the sounds?
No, I cannot do them right now.
Okay.
That's going to be on our Patreon. You can hear the sounds there. So the story is that this woman's driving down the street. Just
all the sounds.
And she goes...
Well, first she got into her car and it went scream.
She put the keys in. It's a really old
on the
car.
Radio.
Static playing, no sound. And she stops. And she sees that there's some scratch marks on her car, but she doesn't see anything. She sees all of a sudden in the distance this like 6'10" standing on two legs creature about 100 feet away from her. It starts running at her. She freaks, gets in her car. As she's driving away, she says it launches itself onto her car, holding on, but because it was so, of course, misty, spooky setting, the car was a little damp, moisture.
Couldn't even get a good grip.
Slipped right off. But then when she got home, scratch marks all over the car. Car had tons of damage. But nobody has, of course, any proof or photographs. But throughout the years, over the last 30 plus years, there's been dozens of sightings of it. I had a friend who went to school in Whitewater. They said they drove out there multiple times, of course, never like saw anything or felt anything spooky.
Warhawk?
So Warhawk.
Yeah, I went to.
I'm a
year and a half alum.
Okay.
I graduated with a degree in tattooing.
Nice.
For a year and a half.
Nice.
Sometimes I tell people that, and they say, "I didn't know they had a tattoo program there," and I say, "They do.
Come on,
they
buddy.
do. It's 1.5 years." I don't.
No friends in like high school or school that ever like.
saw the Beast of Bray Road.
Or, you know,
Well, mental illness
obviously,
presents itself a lot of different ways. You know what I mean? And maybe someone thinks they see something.
yeah.
Maybe someone fucks their car up and they're like, oh boy, what have I done here?
Let's tell them the wolf
Let's
did it.
see what I can say. A lot of scratches, big beast baby. Maybe it's something like that. Got the scratches, screech. You know, I can't say that I don't have anyone. Maybe someone will let me know. Maybe
Yeah.
someone I know that had an experience that I didn't know about.
Chime in. Drop it
Send
in
me
the
a picture
comments.
of a laceration across their chest.
Do you
that,
believe in any of that stuff? Like last episode, we talked about like the history of Haunchyville, but do you believe in like the ghosts, the ghouls, any of the like cryptid type things?
I love that you guys talked about Haunchyville. I've had this. I was told about Haunchyville.
Did you go?
No, I was told about it from a few people that were certain about Haunchyville.
Well,
And I was like, nah, dude, stop it. What are you talking about? Stop.
but if you've never been, how can you say?
You know what? I can say this, unrelated to groundwork. This maybe 2 summers ago,
Yeah.
I had this experience of like unidentified flying object.
Okay.
This series of, I'm in North Carolina with my family.
Yeah.
And we were doing some late night crabbing on the beach, and then this like series of lights that look kind of like fireworks. If you were watching a fireworks show and they're kind of like dissipating,
Yeah.
see this series of lights, and then they start sort of going over the top of us, and then they sort of disappear across the ocean.
Yeah.
Because we were on the ocean.
Yeah.
And not everyone was near. There was children with us, and there was like a few adults, and there were very few people that were as concerned about it as I thought they should be. And there's like, it could have been a military thing or whatever. I don't know what it could have been, but I couldn't identify it.
Yeah.
And it was like this moment where I was like, huh, it's getting pretty busy up there in the sky. And I started paying a lot more attention to. And it was silent, and it was just this. And I bet, because I'm trying to film it, I'm trying to take pictures of it.
Yeah.
And I assume if you got a good picture, maybe you could attach like these groups of lights, and maybe they're on a. I assumed it was a silent military chopper mission that they were practicing in my reasonable mind.
Trying to process.
But my young son
reason.
was like, "Daddy, aliens aren't real, though, right?" And I was like, "Well, buddy."
According to our government, they told us it was.
Tough to say, friend, because I don't know what that was. I don't know what that was at all. So, you know, I think, you know, it could be, or it could just been like a big hillbilly farmer that was like
shooting off fire. Darn, shooting off,
you know, I mean, also in some rural areas, like the outskirts of an East Troy or Elkhorn, there have been reports of adolescent and teenage kids habitually driving around smoking marijuana in their cars. And who's to say that maybe one of those kids wasn't under the effects of cannabis, and maybe they were like, whoa, you know, that feels more reasonable to me.
That's fair.
That someone saw something and then they were like, it was probably this. Maybe.
I definitely believe 100% way more, obviously, just with like all the proof and videos coming out of like the alien stuff over like the beast type stuff, because I just feel like there'd be more sightings, there'd be more proof and stuff. But I literally am obsessed with like diving into that.
I think it could be. I don't really want to experience it. I don't want to. I don't fuck with ghosts.
I don't want to.
You should know this about me. I don't fuck with ghosts. I mean, I don't want them around me. I don't know if they're what's out there. We
have a ghost in here.
I don't know what's out there,
Holler,
but
homie.
I don't want to find out. Take the night off, you know.
Please.
What I mean? I don't want to.
Dude, we've been in here multiple times where toys that have been there for months will just fly off the shelf. We came in last week. Our Brett Favre picture that has 3 nails mounting it to the wall flew off the wall and shattered all over. I looked back on the security camera.
That's a gunslinger, though.
And
who's to say what happened there? I mean, that's a powerful poster. Yeah, you know? Gunslinger, anything could happen. I mean, I have shit fall off at the shop. Every so often, my alarm will go off, and I find a piece of flash on the ground. But I'm always giving that operator error. And there was a guy that used to live above the shop that was like stomp up the stairs and knock stuff off the walls and that kind of thing. But you know, I hope there's not ghosts over there. You know, I don't know. It feels like
Ghosties.
just don't want to find out. Beast, who's to say? Ghost? Ugh, I'm not interested. You know?
Aliens for sure.
It's kind of, there's a lot out there.
There's a lot
out there.
So you watched Cartoon Network growing up, obviously.
Yes.
Ed, Edd and Nettie. Did you love it?
I'd be lying to say I'm a huge Ed and Eddie guy, but am I going to wish that I did love it based off of the next thing that you...
Did you watch it though?
I'm familiar with it, but no, I was not a habitual Ed and Eddie watcher.
Do you remember?
I was too busy watching The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Okay, that's fair. But that's like years apart.
What year is Ed and Eddie?
Like 2001.
You don't think The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air existed in syndication through 2001?
Okay, yes, it was still being aired, but we're close.
Oh, in 2001.
How old are you?
I'm 37 years old.
Okay.
2001. I'm in 8th grade. I'm not really fucking with cartoons.
That's fair.
Then.
Yep.
I mean, I just transitioned out of WWF.
Okay.
You know, I probably retired my
Belt.
Stone Cold shirt at this point. You know, it's in a safe.
Yeah.
It's in a weather-tight safe. So, you know, how old are you?
I turned 33 this year.
Well, yeah, that 4 years is sometimes.
It is. You're my older sister's age, so that right when you said
so
that,
ask her about Ed and Eddie,
and she'll be like,
out,
yeah, she'll be like,
get out of here, nerd.
Fucking nerd. Yeah. So, do you remember Plank, the like wood board friend that they had with like the two red eyes that they?
No, I'm way off now. Now we're just. But it feels like if I mentioned, hanging with Mr. Cooper to you. Are you familiar with hanging with Mr. Cooper?
Of course, dude. What?
Because sometimes I talk to someone 4 years younger than me, and they're like, I don't know what that is.
But you know why? It's because my older sister. That's why. That's the only reason.
Call your sister. She should be up here doing this. You know what I mean? We'll be talking Ed and Eddie.
My sister went to
sorry about
Haunchyville.
that. Where's Haunchyville? Is there an address to Haunchyville?
Yeah.
We'll
drop the address in the comments.
What's there today?
You can't.
This is going to become a thing where you're now talking about Haunchyville every single time.
So there's a giant gate. You literally can't like go down the road anymore. They used to have like security and police, and then they finally put up like a gate with like a keypad to where you can't even go down. Because it's just. Road.
But what is the road? Someone's private property?
Allegedly. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, in the story, there was like a guy with a shotgun that hung out of.
Okay.
They even had to name it Mystic Drive. Like, come on.
Well, they couldn't name it Haunchy Drive, you know? That's a
little on the nose.
It felt a little too. You know?
Okay, so then with you being just a couple years older than me, you were mostly watching like Saved by the Bell, Full House.
Yeah, Saved by the Bell.
Stuff like
you
that.
know, TGIF was the real step-by-step guy,
yeah.
You know?
Step by step, move by move. Are those the words?
No.
It felt right.
Step by step, day by day. That's it.
Go.
You know. I can't man a second time, and then they're down the roller coaster.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Yeah. There we go. Thank you.
I mentioned Stefan Urkel yesterday or the other day,
which
was, if you remember, Steve Urkel's
alter ego,
super slick alter
ego.
Yeah.
The like fly version,
which like blew my mind when I first probably saw him because I was probably not aware that Steve Urkel was
both
being portrayed. I knew he was both, but I thought Steve Urkel was probably like that kind of, that's who we were getting.
Yeah.
You know? And then I think probably it happened after where I was like, oh, that's him in real life. That's Julia White, you know? And this is, okay. That makes more sense.
Which makes me like grow so much more appreciation for the character and like his talent.
One of the most underappreciated actors, probably. Of all
ever?
time. Yeah, I would say of all time. You know, I would say of all time, probably.
Okay, I love it. Were you big with like the TGI Fridays like up in like your whole life? Because that was like such a big family thing for us. It was like we'd all have dinner, we'd make popcorn, and we'd sit in the living room and we'd watch.
There's gonna be two.
Mind you, my parents got divorced when I was like 9, so it didn't last long. But for those like good chunk, it was pretty great. It was pretty great those days.
Solid 9 years. You don't remember the first probably 5 of them. It kind of sounds like we found something else that maybe we should talk about. Next episode, the
divorce,
good years, the bad years, the broken home. You were gonna find 2 Jack's natural rising pizzas in my home, a 2-liter, and probably some kind of TGI. Depends on where we were at and what that lineup was. But it was always bangers. Bangers only on TGI.
Did you ever watch? You know how they always had like the show after TGI that was a little bit more adult when they had Jennifer Garner's Alias? Did you fall into that? Because that's like your time when you were like
didn't fall into
school,
Alias.
high school.
But when you say that, it reminds me of after Monday Night Raw, Silk Stockings would come on.
Wait,
Silk Stockings, which was
Silk
a very
Stockings.
it was
Which one was that?
It was a sexy show. I don't know if it was a sexy show, but
But
I
it
know
felt
but I
sexy.
know in the intro there's a lot of like porn sex and like a woman like putting up a stocking, and I was probably like, you know what I mean?
Stockings.
Yep. But 9 o'clock bedtime. I was going to bed
Get
after
the
that.
hell upstairs and
I
go
was
to
trying
bed.
to catch some
then.
silk stockings, but it never really
Amounted enough or anything.
man. So I've always wondered, you know. I could search it now. I'm a full
If
adult.
the show's probably dog shit.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm sure it is. You know, but the idea of it is very sexy. I'm not concerned about the show itself. There's just this one scene that I don't know. It's hung in my mind for the yeah. I mean, that's a
6 disc collection.
Yeah.
You get it.
6 discs. That's way more episodes than what I thought it would have been.
Probably, you know, it's
Ran for like 8 years.
probably
really?
It's
8 years.
35 episodes a season, 8 seasons long. I mean, a lot of episodes. I don't know how many episodes.
That's a
season
lot.
is, but meow.
So for this part, this is something that we infamously do here at SayWord. It's called Who Would Win, where we pin 2 people from pop culture against each other.
In a fight.
And in a fight, death match.
Okay.
Who would win? Again, no really wrong answer. It's whatever you feel. You can give a little
No
spiel.
weapons or weapons. I'm probably going to do a spiel.
Definitely spiel. And I would say what I usually tell people is each character is at their peak. So, you know, if I say Thor, obviously he's going to have his hammer.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
Okay.
So number 1, John Wick or the Punisher?
John Wick, because he just doesn't die. I mean,
Okay.
the guy can't seem to die.
Yeah.
You know, most recently I saw John Wick shot and thrown off a building, and he hit everything, and he was fine. You know, he was fine. I didn't see the last John Wick. I didn't see it yet. I thought he was still recovering. I was surprised that it was out. Who doesn't love Keanu? You know what I mean? So John Wick.
Okay. That's fair.
John Wick.
That's fair. All right. Question number 2 is a video game matchup. Super Mario versus Sonic.
Yeah, Sonic is going to probably split him and run right in half.
through him?
I mean, just probably cut him in half.
Like
Probably hits his brother on the way through it too.
Get 'em
takes out
both.
the whole family.
Split.
Don't get me wrong. I love the brothers and the Mario brothers.
Yeah.
I got nothing against them, but Sonic would tear that ass
The
out big time.
distance.
Yeah, he would really. He would. It was a huge. It was a big Sega.
But now,
Sonic
question: what if Mario has the star? Now he's invincible.
guy. We'll see.
What if Sonic has-
Goes supersonic. He does his whole Goku thing.
The star's gonna run out.
Yeah.
Sonic's just got to bide some time.
That's
He
right.
might zip over here.
He
And,
could just run away, come back.
Maybe-
Have you
that's
watched The Boys?
yeah, sure.
So like the first season when he's running through and just
I think
splits
it's
him.
6 minutes into the show.
Yeah,
where he
it's
turns
right- it's
her into
episode-
pink mist.
yeah.
It's a pretty graphic.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Great
Yeah,
show.
pretty
Phenomenal.
good.
I can't wait for the new
Yeah, it was,
season.
it would be a lot like that, but like a lot more sadness. Mario's the world would really weep if Mario
Yeah.
got
I'm literally
in
wearing a
half
Nintendo jersey.
by. Now, if it was Ugly Sonic that almost existed,
Oh yeah, the movie Sonic.
I think Mario destroys Ugly Sonic because the whole world would turn on him.
Everyone was against him.
Yeah, they'd be throwing rocks and shit at him, and they'd really be coming after him. And Mario would be like, right? And Luigi
Fuck
comes
this
up,
guy.
he's got a wrench, and they work him over. Ugly
Yeah.
Sonic does not win. Regular Sonic, flawless victory.
Runs it.
Yeah,
Okay.
big time.
All right, now this one a little out of the norm, but it's Battle of the Ice.
Okay.
Sub-Zero, Elsa.
Sub-Zero versus
Sub-Zero versus Elsa from Frozen. You got kids. I know you've seen it.
I've seen it. I've fucked with Sub-Zero way more than I've fucked with Elsa. She seems like pretty powerful. So powerful they made her like put on mittens and they locked her in a.
She raised a whole
She sure
castle.
did. She sure did. She kind of like threw off the ecosystem.
She just
there.
let it
I
go.
remember.
I've not seen Elsa die. That's bad.
No, I do think. Sorry, Sub-Zero. Elsa seems more powerful.
Yeah.
Sub-Zero, but much more of a grotesque man.
Yeah.
I'm more of a scorpion guy.
Person
Imagine
in
if
the
you
whole-
touched someone and their whole body turned to ice.
Yeah.
How that would make you. It might change your attitude about the world.
You,
After you've
you
been
almost
locked
kill
into
your
a-
sister.
Been locked in an ice shanty for. Yeah, it might.
She's just in there
It's
like,
good.
it's so cold. Snapped.
It's a pretty good question. I got to go with Elsa.
Okay, you heard it here. Elsa with the dub. Now for the last question, we're taking movie realm and we're taking TV. And this is another one that's kind of maybe will make you think a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We got Shrek versus Peter Griffin.
Oh.
They both have some crazy feats. I'm interested to see where you go.
I'd love to get a size comparison on is Shrek how big?
So
how
I
big
would
is Shrek?
say literally just watched this, and that's why they have him. I would say he's probably got to be, just compared to everybody else, 6'8", 6'9". He's a
7 feet 2 inches.
I think Shrek would
So you got Shaq.
tear him limb from limb.
But now, mind you, have you seen the fights with Peter and the chicken? He's got crazy durability.
Peter's tough to kill, But
That's a mean chicken, though.
But as a man who has stood before Shaquille O'Neal before,
7'2" ain't
he's
no
quite
joke.
a man. He's quite a man. Now, if you made him a big green guy with a whoop, no, I think Shrek loses a lot of fans.
Yeah.
But I think he kills him in a gross way. I think he's eating him a little more than anyone's comfortable with. I think it's face first, then neck, then he eventually disembowels him. It's horrible. I like Peter Griffin better, though. I haven't watched an episode of Family Guy in 10 years, and I say a quote every day from it. Yeah. Every day I say one Family Guy quote.
Shrek gets the dub?
He wins, but I don't love it. I don't love him more for it. He's 440 pounds. Peter Griffin's he's a big boy, though.
Yeah, he's probably 3. So for extra credit, a little trivia. Do you know who originally?
Chris Farley.
Yes, love it. Love it. Did you see the video and like the audio? It sounds so weird because it's, a lot of times voice actors like just do their normal voice, but Chris Farley's voice I just felt was always so distinct. So I couldn't imagine.
Should have been him, but
him and Eddie Murphy next to each other, I just feel like would be so weird. I don't know. It's really interesting. I just learned this a couple weeks ago, and I watched all the
It's
footage.
weird to hear now when it was like such a fat bastard voice, or whichever one of his voices that he used with it. But like Chris Farley is pretty much Shrek.
Yeah.
I mean, he would have really made.
He didn't. Did you watch any of the footage?
I've just seen like a clip of like it being discussed.
The whole movie was almost done. They only had like 2 weeks left of audio recording. They asked his brother to do it, and his brother said he just couldn't. Like, it didn't feel right, even though they sounded so similar.
Would you like to hear about when I met Chris Farley's brothers?
I thought you were going to say Chris Farley.
Nope.
That makes it slightly.
I wish it was. I wish I met Chris Farley, but I met his brothers, and mostly the good story is about how it happened. It is myself and 2 of my friends, and we are in Madison, and it is years ago. And my friend Dave has Blue Waffle on his phone. If everyone out there,
if you've never looked up Blue Waffle, go do it now.
It's a graphic image. In Madison, it is after the night of a tattoo convention. I am not working. Me and my friend Eric, we've just gotten hustled by some guy who made us play some game where we just paid him some money we couldn't afford. So we're out. He pulls up Blue Waffle. He walks up to these 2 guys, my other friend Dave. He says nothing to them, and he shows them Blue Waffle. And then he looks at him. He's like, "Are you Kevin Farley?" And it was Chris Farley's 2 brothers that he presented with just a silent Blue Waffle.
Silent Blue Waffle.
Yeah, so that's how I met them.
That's so funny.
By Blue Waffle. So,
Blue Waffle. Don't look up Blue Waffle.
No. It's probably better as the way it ended.
And you heard that they didn't want him to do like the accent. Like they didn't want Myers, they didn't want him to do like the Scottish accent. He initially like pitched it in his normal voice, and then afterwards he was like, "Oh, let me try something." And they're like, "Okay," and he did it in this accent, and everybody was like, they didn't really like it. And then
I think Shrek is from Scotland. Is he not? Can you look that up? Is he from?
Because there's an original story called Shrek that they literally took it.
Yeah, I didn't know that until this moment.
Really? The book? Yeah, there's a book called Shrek.
I just assumed they wrote.
Fairy Tale Land of Duloc.
Duloc is a perk.
Here's something you should know. I didn't think that. You know what I mean? I didn't think that took place in a place that we're like, oh no, it's they didn't.
Yeah. That music box is still so funny to me when they do that. It's like, please stay off of the grass, shine your shoes, wipe your face. Yeah. That's a movie that has a ton of adult jokes in it that you don't realize until you rewatch it as an adult.
I never really watched animated movies as an adult until I had kids.
Yeah.
And then I started to, and I was like, man, these are great. These are great movies. I was missing out. I just didn't understand. I probably still wouldn't if I didn't have kids. I probably still am not watching those animated movies. But boy, I realized I was missing out.
What are some of your favorite ones that you guys watch together, or that you just like now and watch by yourself?
It's hard for me to. I mean, the Toy Story world is what an idea. I mean, what an idea. There's a reason that they led with it. What an idea. I mean, I think like the Into the Spideyverse, as far as animated movies go, was
Crazy.
like probably one of the. But I'm a pretty big Moana guy. I like
Okay.
Moana. I like I like anything, and then I will watch it so much that I would want to watch anything else. And then when we move on to that next thing, then
You
I'm like,
miss
boy,
I
if I could get Moana back, that would be something, you know.
They haven't hit like the
That
YouTube
would be
videos
something.
yet.
Oh
that they
yeah, I mean
see.
I've got an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old, so
Oh
they're
yeah,
like
so definitely.
pretty different into different stuff.
Yeah.
My one son just wants to watch soccer videos or someone
Yes.
on YouTube talk about something, and my other son just is mostly mad, you know.
Yeah.
But he'll watch,
Just three.
you know, he'll watch
Terrible
a bit
threes.
of terrible threes.
Yeah,
dude.
terrible twos is not a thing.
No.
My kids were angels at 2. They hit 3 and their horns came out.
Yeah,
it was brutal.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you know, my Encanto really was the first movie that
Ooh.
felt like it really factored into my young son's life, but my older son by then was like into Hamilton. You know, he became a real Hamilton guy.
What?
I picked my son up from school one day, and he was like,
Dad?
"Happy President's Day, Daddy," and I was like, "Of course, obviously, Happy President's Day." And we had gone to Mount Rushmore like the summer before that.
Mhm.
So then at school, when they brought up Mount Rushmore, he was the only one that was like, hand up.
I know
I've
what
been
it
there.
is.
And then he got pretty into the presidents. And then something came about Alexander Hamilton, and I was like, "There's a play, dude."
There is a
And then we started watching Hamilton,
so
which
funny.
is tremendous. I mean, it's very good. The first half, second half gets a little. I don't even really need to
Little
get into
iffy.
it. Everyone starts dying. This Hamilton family should have never dueled. I mean, they were terrible.
The
at dueling.
worst.
All they did was get shot and killed dueling. I mean, that was like pretty much it. And I don't know that I didn't know he wasn't a president until I started getting into Hamilton. I was like, well, he's on the dime. So, you know.
Speaking of presidents, did you know?
I think he's on the dime. He's on something, you know.
Yeah.
The tenor? He's on a
my
tenor.
gosh,
He's
yeah.
on some coin.
Yeah, he's on some form
Like
of
Roosevelt's
currency.
on a.
So did you know Ben Franklin quite possibly could have been a serial killer?
I'm sure.
Have you heard about this? About his house in London?
And is it London serial killer house?
So he had a house in London because he was going back and forth because he was like working with like the Queen, working with America, going back and forth, and he still had a house in London. So recently, within the last, I think like 10 years, they wanted to convert his original house into a museum. So the basement was like
Full of bones.
Yes. They found a secret part of the basement, and they found hundreds and hundreds of bones. There was like a baby's bones, tons of kids,
I don't
all
love
this
that.
stuff.
I don't love
No.
that part, you know.
The bones
But-
were sawed in half. There was all this experimental stuff.
That's pretty
And
dark,
dude,
dude.
Franklin,
Yeah.
you know, it's Ben Franklin. He electricity and experiment and all this. That was his thing. And there's this like huge, like still ongoing thing because they can't.
Are they investigating it?
They are still actively
I feel like they
investigating it.
should put a pin in that. Move on from that, though. Maybe work on some of the
Other more important
pressing
things.
cases.
And that's pretty much what they're
but
doing. It's more of like, it's not like they're gonna dig up his body and press charges.
Take prints.
1,200 buried bones.
Single bones.
They assembled into body pieces, but there was animals, there was all types, skulls cut in half, and they dated the bones and everything, and it was the exact time he lived
he
there.
probably. It feels like there was a time
Kind of
where it was so easy to do shit and get away with it that
Yeah.
it was probably like, if you're Ben Franklin, you're kind of sitting on top of the world. I mean, it feels like
You can get any dead body you
kind of
want.
seems like you can do whatever you want. And
Yeah.
you're doing all right. So yeah, it kind of seems like it'd be a miss if he wasn't like,
Yep.
cutting some people apart and things
Mhm.
like that.
The only thing that is kind of going in his favor, not that it matters because he's dead for a long, long, long time, but one of the guys that he also lived with for a period of time in the building was like a doctor, like a surgeon. So they were like, were these guys, no, I was going to say tag teaming these bodies, but that is not what I meant.
It could be though.
That is not what I
Could be
meant.
though.
What I meant to say
Could be.
is that they are working together to disassemble these bodies and stuff. But yeah, you never heard this?
No, I didn't know.
There's a really crazy documentary on like PBS. It's like an hour long. Watch it.
I didn't know. That was my first.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Lots of firsts on here.
Didn't know
We're
that.
dropping
I knew he
dimes.
wanted the turkey as the. He was a fan of the turkey for the national bird. Someone was. I thought it was Ben Franklin.
That I didn't
Ben
know.
Franklin pushed for the turkey
over the eagle.
over the eagle. You know.
Good call going with the eagle. Could you imagine all the like USA propaganda that
Just
we've
all
had?
turkeys? we feel as a group though.
We feel kind of turkey-ish?
We feel. I've had more interactions with turkeys than
And eagles.
and I gotta say, I lived in Shorewood for 1 year, around the
So
corner.
you saw all those turkeys.
And there was this one particular very confident neighborhood turkey. And I would be walking my dog, who was a large lab, and we would be on the sidewalk, and this turkey would walk right at us, and then it would just get off of the sidewalk and walk around us on the road, and it would just get back on the sidewalk. And it felt like this turkey is not concerned about anything. So, big picture, I mean, Eagles.
Because I think about just like all the merch that we've had in from like the Desert Storm and like even like the 9/11 stuff. It's always like so, flaming
you guys
eagles.
get a lot of 9/11 merch in here. It'd be a weird vibe.
It's not a shirt I'm putting on the rack.
Because it feels like a lot of people that would want that were not alive or did not remember 9/11.
Correct.
And it does feel like they would be willing to pop that 9/11 on there.
And think it's...
It makes sense that there's 9/11 shirts out there.
There's so many. There was one we had where it was like 9/11, we'll never forget Osama, we're coming to fuck you.
Okay, sure.
And it was like Uncle Sam with like 2 AKs.
Obviously.
And like, it was a trip. But yeah, we have a bucket that we keep of just all the like inappropriate and like, really just like raunchy tees that like, we got toys. We got a lot of kids.
You get a lot of raunchy tees.
Not often. I would say right now the bucket probably has like 6
like
total.
I'm imagining like a screen printed dick flipped up onto the bottom of the shirt. Like,
oh my god, that would be hilarious!
Like
oh shit! No,
you can print that. You can print that shirt.
We have like a couple like grunge bands that have like real graphic, ripped apart like naked ladies on it.
Sure.
We have a R. Kelly rap tee.
Okay. Well,
we have there's a 9/11 one down there, and there's like an old Harley tee that has a Confederate flag on it, to where it's like, dude, I am never gonna put that stuff out on the rack, and I'm not gonna post it. But I do know that there are customers out there that like those bands or collect that merch or just want that. And kind of like you were saying with your tattoos, like, I'm not going to tell you no, but I'm also not going to advertise it. Like, we've had people come and be like, oh, do you have any, like, I'm looking for something like really graphic. Or I've had one dude be like, oh yeah, you guys ever get fucked up stuff in here? I'm like, oh yeah. And one guy was like a customer for like,
can I touch it?
Yeah, literally. He was like, can I see it? And it was a guy who's been shopping here for like 3 years. So I'm like, you want to see him? He's like, yeah. And he ended up buying one. It was he ended up buying the Cannibal Corpse from Sam that had the nuns. Nuns that were all goofed
There
up.
Became a point in my life where I had this Misery Signals shirt, band Misery Signals. On the back it said, burn it to the fucking ground. But it was like the full back of the shirt.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, I was like, I think I'm too old to have fucking all the way across my shirt.
Yeah.
So now I don't do any graphic.
Super inappropriate.
No one's
stuff,
usually getting murdered or fuck face or anything like that. Not in any of my clothing anymore. But people are still out there trying to shock and awe, I suppose. So 9/11 tees. Who knew?
There's a market for everything.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, when you said it, I forgot that truck stops existed. And those things were crushed with 9/11 tees. I'm sure they were.
Huge. All right, guys, that was Haunchyville. This or that. Who would win? Tattoo talk, crazy story swaps, aliens, all the usual wildness you find during Word Wednesday. I'm super stoked to have our buddy Ben here for this amazing episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Ben, tell them where they can find you, where you're at, plug the shop, Tell us the good word.
You can find me Tuesday through Saturday at Goodland Tattoo. Stop in. You want to get something done? Stop in, talk to us. There's several tattooers there. You could go to our Instagram at Goodland Tattoo. You can find the tattooers there. You can reach out to them, or you can walk in. It's fun to walk into a tattoo shop. It's still a fun place. You can walk in, you can look around, you can talk to us, you can get something set up, or you don't have to. It's up to you. You know, it's your body, your choice, whatever you want to do. Don't get tattooed or get tattooed. We don't do piercings, so
Get tattoos.
don't even ask.
I don't. Oh, yes. No piercings, but tattoos for days.
Tattoos for days. We'll tattoo a piercing on you.
You guys, it's right across the street from the shop. There's no excuse. If you come see us, go see them. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and that's it for us. Ben, I appreciate you.
Thanks, dude.
Thanks for being here. And that's all we got. Thanks, guys.